Okay, so now let me go back to the class development. Now, instead of this, I'm going to come up with a fresh project. I'm going to come up with a fresh project. I'm going to say new project and I have to name my project. So what is the name of our project? Library management. Okay. And okay, let me open this window. Done. Done. Right. And it is also creating one virtual environment for us. We know what is a virtual environment, right? Where I can install all the required necessary packages. Right. Done. Okay. So this is the VN. So let that be here. And I am going to first create one directory for static, which can contain um, the JavaScript, CSS, and any of the images. Another one for templates. Done. Right. And then we will create one more thing for one Python file for app.py to load our application. Right. Another, then we will start creating the packages. So one package for APIs, right, which will contain certain, so I'll then another package for util. Yep. And another package for what are the things that we created? So models. Why am I not able to create? Yeah. Right. So we have created our project in this approach. Okay. And one file for requirements. Any of the packages that we want to install. Requirements.txt. Right, so we created one requirement.txt, our application.py. I'll be maintaining AI APIs, models, and utils, which is different. So I'm going to create one empty init.py at the project level also. Right, done. App.py requirements. I think we are good. Now, what do we want to install? Okay, I'll create one more folder for folder, not a package. One more folder for schema. Okay, so and one file in that .sql. Right, so this will basically contain all the schema. Okay, right. So now this is the project structure that we have created. So starting today, every day we will be implementing one or the other, and then we will be proceeding further. And now for today, as we discussed, let us come up with a having our database schema ready as far as for this class. Okay, now what should be the database thing as we discussed, right? Let us try to create a DB design. Okay, right. So what do we want? So let us create one table. First, let us create one DB. If not exists, it will try to create that DB. DB name, let us say. Okay, and after that, okay, so this we will create separately. For now, let this be here. Right, in SQL, if you want to comment, you have to use --. So in the library management DB, so first thing is we want to create users as a table. right? So, or maybe I'll just keep it as employees. So ID, it is going to be serial, and it is a primary key, and it is a key. And then I want to take name. It is a varchar, and let us say it takes 250 characters, and it is also not null. Okay. Email, also we will take varchar 250 and email not null, and it should be unique. Then password, varchar. How many characters did the password take in our earlier thing? I think it is 75 characters or something, right? Not null. Okay. So this is the employee table. All right. We will track few more things. Employee, you can basically, right, you can give job to someone and you can also fire them, right? Or they can resign and go. So basically you need to keep track of whether that user is active or not. Active, it is a Boolean field. It is not null. It is default value is true. Default value is true. Even if you don't give anything, the default value would be true. Right. So you don't have to say employees. The table name should always be singular. Right. Create table employee, done. Now let us create another table. Create table student. Right. For student also, I'll just try to copy the things here. So student has name, email. Student will not have password. So for that sake, I'll just going to take register number, something like this, and it is a not null, and ID, serial name, email, register number, active or not. So that is pretty much good for a student. Okay. Additionally, we want books. Just keep everything as this only then. Right. Student books. We want a book, and we want title. We want author. We want copies. How many copies did I order? Okay, that's it. And another table for, obviously, student will take books. Student will take books. So you have to keep track of which student has taken which book, right? All right. So this books, I'm going to call it as books borrowed, or like borrowed books, right? So here, yes, you can have, okay, you might ignore this. What we can have is student ID. Obviously, student ID has taken, so it is going to be integer, not null, right? And obviously we need book ID, right? Same integer. Okay. And return date. This is just going to be the date field, and it is nullable. Due date. When should the user return? So that also will be the date field, and it is nullable. Okay, and who is the employee who has given this book to the student, right? And employee ID. So this is also integer, and this is a not null. Okay, I think we are good with this data. And in the books also, we will try copies is the one, total copies, and available copies. And let me just make it as total copies and available copies. So you would have given books, right, to different students, and so whenever you give, so you have to update your inventory. Okay, do I have books or not? So before lending out, you should know, right, do I have a books or not? So the total copies is basically integer. And available copies is also integer. Every time you give this book to some student, you are going to reduce one number from this available copies. Right, and I'm going to create one more. Bought on. When did I buy this book? Right, it is a date. Default would be at the time of creation. Date now. So that's a function in the PostgreSQL which will create the thing bought on. And I'm going to. So this borrowed books also lended on. So I have put a due date, employee ID, and return date, but I have not given when did I issue date I want, right? We want to know issue date also. When did I actually give issued date? So it would be the time of the record creation, and issue date, return date, and the due date. Employee ID, books, bought on. Then when did I create the student? So this all will be the same thing, default values. Created on, done. Employee also, when did he created on? Okay, I think we are good, right? So this is our table design. Any questions here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Right, this is how our table is going to be. Table structure is going to be. Our DB name is library management, under which we will be storing all of this tables, and we'll be using these tables to store the respective data. Okay, so let us go to the let me try creating this. Right. Okay. So else I'll be using this only to create, or maybe like, let's go ahead and create. I think this is a movie DB which is there. So let me create a new connection for this, not the movie DB. Okay, so let me remove everything here. I'm going to create this DB. Create DB. Why? What is the problem? If not exist, I think that is the problem, I guess, but let me check. If not exist. Mm-hmm. If not exist, this is the correct. I think that is correct. Let me check. I think that is the syntax for it. PostgreSQL, let me quickly check. It is the same. I think that is how it is. Maybe where not exists. No. Okay, so if exists DB name. Mhm. Okay, so let us go with. Then we'll go with another approach. Always these two things. DB if exists. So we'll, if it is there, we'll drop and then we'll recreate. Okay. So let's execute the both. Obviously, this will be no op. Why? Okay. Does not exist. So skipping. So no problem there. And let us create one. Okay. I did create. Let me refresh and see if the table. So do we get the library management here?
Yes, sir.
Dropped and joined back. Okay. Right. Okay. So let me just go back to thing and write this. Okay, then let us try to create a employee record. Let us try to create employee record. So now let me connect to this database. Let me connect to this database, the library management DB. So let me take a query tool of that. So it will connect to that database and we can start creating tables under it. I hope this is correct. Now let us just try to execute this. Okay. Created no function matches date now or UTC now or just now. Now let me, I forgot the function name. Let me just check again. Okay, it's UTC now is also not a function. Let me just check now. Yeah, so now is the function. So this got created. No problem. Let me update this. Done. Why? What happened? No. All right. So everywhere, wherever we have date now, it is just now. So let us also create a student record. Let us also create student record. Okay, student record also successful. So done. Books also we'll try to create. Okay, no problem. We were able to create books. And now which user has taken which books, which is the borrowed books. Right. So there is a syntax error. Why? Because there is a comma here. This. Done. That's it. We are able to create all the tables. Let us just verify if our tables got created. So let me just say refresh. Done. Schemas, public, under which we'll have tables. And if you see, right, there is a class for student. So there is a table called student, employee, borrowed books, and books. So all four tables are present.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So which means we were able to create the required tables for our application. Okay. Now, what are the requirements that are that we need? Let us just go to terminal and it will load our environment. Okay. So which is VN. So I'm going to say pip install Flask. So this would install Flask. Yeah. So all the required dependent libraries it would install. And since we want to talk to the PostgreSQL DB, what is another library that we want to install?
Psychology, sir.
Right? Pip install PUBG2-binary. That is the library name. Okay, done. We install that as well. Then I want to use one application for managing my login, logout, and session. So which is the application, which is the package or library that we want to install?
Flask login.
Flask underscore login. Okay, so I think we installed all that is required. You can just say pip freeze, right? So this has all the required packages. This has all the required packages. What we are going to do is pip freeze and redirect it to requirements.txt, right? So our requirements.txt file will contain all that is required now, all that we have installed. Okay, are we good?
Yes, sir.
So we are good with respect to the things that are needed. Okay. Now let us come to the application.py, app.py. So if I have to run my app.py, now first thing, right? What is the how can I run my how can I create my Flask application? First thing from Flask import Flask. Okay. Then I want to create instance of the Flask. App is equal to Flask, and I'm going to name this application as library management. Done. This is my application. Done. I have created my application, and if underscore underscore name underscore underscore equal to underscore underscore main, then you can run this app dot run. Done. Are we good? So simple. Our application is ready to be executed. Now, if I have to add login for a particular employee, so what should I do?
Require login and logout, sir.
Right, but what is the first thing? What should we do? Flask login, import Login manager. First, what you need is a login manager. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Login manager is equal to login manager, and this requires a Flask instance, which we have provided. Done. Login manager dot login view is equal to, I'm just going to give it as login, we will implement. Right. Done. And we also have to mention what is the user loader. Dot user loader have to give how it Flask should know how to load a user. Even before that, login manager should also have the secret key. So app dot, what are the things that are required? You have practiced, right? The login logout. Tell me.